Hello. uh, how are we? Like, for real. I had planned on making this video, and it was going to be something that I really wrote out because when I thought about it, I was super excited to do it, and I was like, no, this is something that we really need to talk about. Side note, if you're seeing smoke floating into the screen, I'm burning incense. That's all that is. To help myself remain calm. Anyway, uh yeah, so it was gonna be, like talking about how we're doing and what people really mean when they ask you how you are, and the importance of having safe spaces and safe people that you can talk to and be open with, and all of that good stuff. And I had made a couple of more videos before that because I was like, I want to do these first. And I was, also in the process of cleaning my apartment, like deep cleaning my apartment, going through stuff that I haven't touched since I moved here over a year ago, getting rid of it and all of that stuff. And, just, and things were happening like in my personal life, and I was just kind of like letting them roll off my back, like it would happen, I would feel how I would feel in the moment, and then I'd be like, well, on to the next thing, like it's gonna be okay, moving on. And then things got really real, and I started spiraling. And I do this thing when I'm spiraling where I'm like, you know what? You got to try to remain as positive as possible because everything's going to be okay. Don't get in your head about it. Don't let your anxiety get to you. But when I do that, I make things worse for myself because I'm ignoring how I actually feel. I'm ignoring what's actually going on, and I'm just pushing myself to be as okay as possible, and that's not realistic, and it's not healthy either. And so I've been trying to make this video for the past, I don't even know how many days. It's been at least a week that I've been trying to make this video, and either something has happened that day or I just didn't have, excuse me, the smoke from the incense is like flying right at me right now. And anyway, um yeah, so either something happened that day or I just didn't have enough energy to make the video. Um and I'm realizing that this sun banner behind me is crooked, and I'm gonna have to fix that later. I'm sorry, ADHD. Uh, but yeah, and the whole day, like I had told my friends already, like, listen, well, I didn't tell everybody, I told my best friend, but I was like, listen, I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb today, because I need to rest, but I also need to get some work done. Like, there's things around here around the apartment that I wanted to get done today, and there were things for videos, like I wanted to get some recording done, I wanted to get some planning done. And so I was like, I'm just gonna have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm gonna sleep in. I'm not gonna set any expectations, but I do need to try to get as much done as possible because I've been trying to do this for however many days straight and I haven't done anything that I said I was gonna do that day. So there's that. And then I couldn't go to sleep. So I didn't go to sleep until like 3:30 this morning. And then I woke up and I was like, okay, I actually slept well. Like I actually slept like 9 hours straight, which is nice for once. And so I was like, this is starting off pretty well. We're doing good. And then I was just kind of awake, on the social medias, scrolling through TikTok, having an okay time. And then I got sleepy, so I took a nap. And I woke up and I woke up around like 4:30 and I just was not here. I just was not here because the thought of doing things was like staring me down. And the thought of being behind on something was staring me down. And everything that's been happening for the past like 2 weeks was staring me down. And I really just wanted some wine and I wanted to lay back down. And I wanted to eat, but I didn't want to have to cook, and that's the option right now. So I was like, I don't have enough energy to do that right now. I'm just not going to. And I really wanted to go and get wine, but I have a wallet full of quarters and I didn't want to take all of my quarters to the store to get wine. So I just, sat there and scrolled through social media. And the more I sat there, the more I thought about everything. So I lit some incense and I was like, okay, you gotta calm down. Like, let's think this through. Let's take one thing at a time. And it was working until it wasn't. And then I really realized, like it really set in that I've been spiraling this whole time and I have just been afraid that I'm not in control. And so because of that, I've been putting on a show, been masking, I've been acting like everything is okay. And when things start slipping through the cracks, I'm just like, patch it up, patch it up, patch it up. Don't let it slip through, pick it up as fast as possible. And I have not been okay. And then I realized, well, this is the perfect opportunity to make this video because right now I have no inhibitions and I'm going to be very candid with you guys, with you all. I'm not doing okay. I'm not doing okay. And I'm really tired of trying to be okay. I'm really tired of masking. I'm really tired of not letting people see when I'm not okay. And there are people, don't get me wrong, there are people in my circle. I have some very strong people that will hold me up and have my back. But most of the time, those people are also going through something. And I don't like telling them about when I'm not okay because I get in my head about it and I'm like, they're going through something. I don't want to be a burden to them. I don't want to add my stuff onto their stuff. And this is something that I've been struggling with for years because I've always felt like I'm the strong friend. I'm the friend that is there to pick up the pieces when everybody's not doing okay. Excuse me. And if you're the strong friend, you know that being the strong friend is not sustainable and it never has been. It's not healthy. And a lot of times people don't check on the strong friend because they think that the strong friend is fine. And it's just that we're really good at hiding. We're really good at masking. We're really good at making it seem like we're okay. And even if we let it out a little bit that we're really not okay, people don't really get that worried because they're like, well, it seems minor. You're gonna be okay. It's really convincing. We put on a good show. But behind that, like, sometimes I feel like I really am falling apart. And parts of me are drifting away, and I don't know where I'm going. And I had a conversation with my best friend, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to say from that conversation. One of those things was that she asked me the other day, she was like, have you ever felt numb, like felt nothing, but also felt so sad? And I was like, yeah, it sounds contradictory, right? She's like, yeah, like it doesn't make sense, but that's how I feel. And I was like, yeah, that feeling is kind of like being on a rock just floating through endless time and space, but also feeling extremely weighted and tied down and tethered, even though there's no gravity. And she was like, yeah, that's exactly it. And that's how I've been feeling. And the other thing that I really thought about was that, and this is actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's another conversation, but I was really spiraling really bad one night, and we're on FaceTime, and I was like, I haven't got out of the bed at all today, like not even to pee, because I can't get out of my head. And being stuck in my head is keeping me tied to this bed. And the only thing that's keeping me from feeling everything is being on TikTok. It's soothing my ADHD, and I can laugh a little bit. And in between laughs, I'm trying not to fall apart. And I'm feeling something tell me that I need to just stop and breathe. But I was like, I don't want to breathe. I don't want to breathe. I don't want to do that. It hurts when I breathe. And I wasn't talking about physically. I was talking about mentally, emotionally. Because when I breathe, I'm thinking about everything. It's like each breath is a sucker punch to the face. Like it's too big of a blow for me to handle right now. And I didn't even realize before I had that feeling that I was not breathing. Like, I wasn't allowing myself to breathe naturally, and it wasn't something that I was doing on purpose. And it wasn't coming from a place where I want to be not alive. It was just coming from a place of, I don't want to be here right now. I don't want to be me right now. I want to run as far as I can and drop off the face of the earth and just have a vacation for the rest of my life from everything and everyone. And I was just like, I can't. I don't have the desire or the willpower to breathe like a normal human being because it hurts. Sorry, there's fireworks outside my window, and I'm like, why do people, it's August. ADHD. Anyway. So yeah, I'm realizing a lot of things that I kind of already knew and just didn't want to really deal with because I'm so used to shoving everything to the back, especially working in customer service for so long and having to be face to face with so many people and being told that you have to just let everything go at the door and that um, you gotta put on a smile and put on a show and put on your customer service voice. And don't let people know that there's anything going on with you. And don't let anyone know that you're having a bad day, um, because it's none of their concern, and because they don't care, and because that's not what they're coming to you for. And that's, I never was able to get used to having to do that. I never was okay with it, and I never understood how people did it so successfully. But then I realized I had been doing it for a very long time, and it just was never sustainable, and I couldn't handle it anymore. And it wasn't because I was doing it at work for so long, it was because I was doing it in my everyday life for so long. So I was like, okay, that's a nice realization to have. Not really. That's not fun at all. But it's just a very, like, it's an extremely isolating feeling, um, to feel like you don't have anyone to turn to, even though logically you do have people to turn to. You just don't want to add to whatever they have going on because you don't want there to be a shit show. You don't want things to fall apart, and then none of you are okay. So it's just, yeah. And I also really wanted to talk about why it is that so many of us feel like we have to do that. And a huge reason is because of this idea of individualism, where people are shouldered with the burden of healing and grief and whatever else. Like, it's just kind of like, well, you're responsible for your own feelings and you're responsible for your own healing, and you have to do it by yourself. And that part of that is true. Like, you are responsible for your healing, you are responsible for managing your emotions. But a lot of these things are not things that we did to ourselves. And not just that, it's unrealistic to expect someone to be able to be okay when they're going through something and all they have is themselves. Like, I also do this thing where I beat myself up when I'm spiraling, because I'm like, you're backsliding. The progress is gone, and you haven't done anything good because you're doing something terrible right now. And then I say, okay, that's not what you would say to your best friend if she said that to you. So why don't you just say to her what you would say to yourself? And that works for 10 seconds before I'm back to spiraling. Because it's just not realistic for me to be able to talk myself off of a ledge all of the time when I'm the one that's going through what I'm going through. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to always be able to pick myself out of the bed and feed myself and do everything that I'm responsible for doing when I'm not even all the way here. It doesn't make sense for me to be able to talk things through by myself and give myself advice when I'm the one that's in my own head. And when you look at, like, traditional cultures, like getting out of what the US is now, right? Throw it away. When you look at like cultures of indigenous people, like native to this land, when you look at cultures of like African and like Indian cultures, there's community a lot of times. There's people coming together to help with the process. Like, even in things like childbirth, I've heard about and researched about a lot of different African cultures coming together to help take care of the birth giver and take care of the child, and make sure that they are well and that they are healed and that they are rested and that they are fed before they get back to doing whatever it is that they do. In the US, we get maternity leave sometimes, for not nearly long enough, and then we're expected to just get back to work. And the birth giver, most of the time, is shouldered with the responsibility of taking care of the child and or children, taking care of the home, and working. So it's just kind of like, you know, there are so many things. I'm not going to get into all of that in that video because that's not what this video is for. But there are so many things that just make people reinforce this idea of individualism and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, and the fact that you have to do everything by yourself, and that you are solely or mostly solely or mostly responsible for doing everything on your own. And that is not okay. And I have seen that a lot, but it's becoming extremely real for me right now, especially considering the fact that we're in the middle of the pandemic, where the moratorium on evictions was just lifted, and people are also going through their regularly scheduled programs of everything else that happens in everyone's everyday lives. And it's just like, how do people expect for anyone to get through anything that's heavy by themselves? People lose their lives because of that. People take their lives because of that. And so it's so important for us to make sure that we are showing up for each other, but we have to make sure that we are reinforcing that it's okay for the people that we care about to come to us, making sure that we are leading with understanding and leading with love, because it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't make any difference if we're saying that we are going to be here for someone and then they come to us and we're not meeting them where they are, or we're not meeting them with any understanding because we don't understand. And we're basically giving them our butts to kiss. Like, it doesn't make any sense for someone to say that they are a safe space for someone, that especially someone that is mentally unwell. And then as soon as that person starts to show any type of symptoms of being mentally unwell, we run the other way. It doesn't make any sense. So educating ourselves on what mental illnesses look like beyond depression and anxiety, because I know that those are everyone's two favorites to bring out, but those are not the only ones that exist. And yes, all mental illnesses are real and they are valid. And then not forcing positivity on people, because it's not realistic and it's not healthy and it's not helpful in any way to force someone that is going through something to So you know what? You got to just lift your chin up. You got to just keep going. Roll with the punches. It's not realistic. So don't do that. But then those of us that are going through whatever and we need someone, we have to work on communicating to people what it is that we need to the best of our abilities in whatever moment. Because closed mouths don't get fed, and if you don't tell someone that you need them to do something for you, then most of the time they don't know that they need to do that for you. Now, in some situations, obviously there are going to be exceptions, because it's just like, you know, I'm not talking about situations where the person already knew, or you already knew what was going on and what someone was going through, and you knew what they needed and you just didn't do it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you've never experienced whatever that person is going through, or you never experienced that person while they're going through something, or you've never had any inkling that anything was wrong. We have to try to do our best to say, hey, I am not well. I need XYZ. I am not able to do XYZ right now. It would be great if you could. And if all you need is to be left the hell alone, you still got to say that, you know? But we really have to start making sure that we are actually building community and actually showing up for each other when we are able and when we have the resources, because there is no way that everyone is going to be able to survive, especially in the midst of a pandemic, without each other. So I hope that me being candid and telling y'all that I'm currently trying to peel myself up off the floor is helpful for someone. I hope that if you're someone that's going through something, that you have a safe space, safe people to reach out to. I hope that if you're someone that isn't going through something, and you know, you have people in your life that are, you show up for them in earnest. And even if you don't know that they're going through something, check on them in earnest. If you're going to ask someone how they're doing, you need to make sure that you care enough and are prepared enough to hear the answer. Don't just ask someone how they're doing for show. If you're going to really check on someone, be prepared to hear some shit. That's all I have for y'all for today, because my stomach is growling. It's currently playing pad cake with my spine. So I'm gonna try to go make something to eat. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week. And if you don't, that's okay too. If all you do is survive, that's the best you got that day. So that's okay. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.